Wow, I cannot believe that the Super Nintendo is as old as it is, and that it's actually getting an SNES Classic Mini, which will probably be very hard to find. But, with that said, the Super Nintendo is my second favorite console of all time, second only to the Nintendo 64. And while it has many excellent games on its console, I will be going down my top 5 favorites. Keep in mind this is simply my opinion, and that you may have your own favorites, but this is why gaming is such a great medium. We all have our own favorite special games. Without further ado, enjoy my list. Let me just say that Donkey Kong Country probably is not, objectively speaking, the best of the bunch where it comes to Super Nintendo games. But let me tell you something, this was probably the very first video game I ever saw being played on a TV, and when I did at my age of 5 or 6, I was blown away. This might not be my all-time favorite game, but there's no question that this game planted the seeds for what will become a future lifelong passion. And while it's true that it probably hasn't aged all that well, I still love it and I still play it annually. Like, I don't know, I love the simple yet fun level design. I love the atmosphere of the game, the beautiful visuals even to this day, even though it's on a 2D system, and of course the music by David Wise, which really seals the deal for me. This game definitely isn't the best, even in the Donkey Kong Country series, but to me, it just holds such a special place in my heart, and I just love playing it. I have tons of fun. I like to play it on co-op, and I love to play it by myself as well. And honestly speaking, for me, a game being fun is what it takes for me to like it, and that is why Donkey Kong Country gets number 5. Take just about everything that was great about the first game and expanderize upon it by a bajillion. Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddys Conquest did just that. Better graphics, better gameplay, better music, better replayability, better everything. Diddys Conquest has some of the best level design by platforming standards even to this day, and may be the best platformer on the Super Nintendo, hands down. It has some incredible level design, some unforgettable music that might stand as some of the best in gaming history, and I didn't beat this game until high school, and it's legitimately challenging too. Now, even if you beat the main game and you're not satisfied, worry not. This game really throws everything at you with having the real ending have something you really need to work for. Diddys Conquest is hands down one of the best games on the Super Nintendo, and I am more than happy to give it my number 4 slot. If the first Zelda game is like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Zelda 2 is like Temple of Doom, A Link to the Past is analogous to The Last Crusade. Though unlike the Indiana Jones franchise, which I am making the analogy to, the Zelda series stayed good after the third installment, Burn. However, A Link to the Past truly is, objectively and subjectively speaking, the most refined 2D Zelda experience in existence, and may have aged the best out of any Zelda game, period. In fact, one could say it has aged like fine wine, though I'm more of a beer guy myself. No, A Link to the Past has nearly flawless controls and gameplay, beautiful visuals that still look great to this day, an unforgettable soundtrack, brilliant and amazing boss battles, awesome dungeons and level design, and not just one but 2 huge and awesome worlds to explore. This game also brought in series staples like the Master Sword, the Hookshot, and the dual world concept, as well as sort of what we've now come to know as the Zelda formula. A Link to the Past is hands down one of my favorite games of all time. And I honestly struggled deciding where I'd put it on my list, considering the game right after it is also brilliant. However, I decided to place it on the number 3 spot because honestly, if I were being too biased, pretty much all my top games would be Zelda games on Nintendo consoles. Still, A Link to the Past is hands down one of the best games of its era and on the Super Nintendo, and it sits very comfortably at number 3. From its sinister opening moments to its action-packed finale, Super Metroid has it all. Where it comes to side-scrolling action-adventure platformer shooters, Super Metroid is the pinnacle. of the Castlevania, Metroid genre. It is, as far as I'm concerned, the best in its class. Super Metroid, like A Link to the Past, took everything that made the first Metroid game amazing and made it so much better, essentially making the first game obsolete. There is a reason why people still speedrun this game even to this day, and I myself will never forget the final moments. Just the thrill and excitement, just how proud I was after beating this game. I don't think I've ever been more proud of beating a video game in my life than when I finally beat Super Metroid. Super Metroid was the most challenging game I had ever beaten at the time that I beat it. And yeah, maybe I'm not that good at games, but it says something about just... I beat this game at a time in my life when I was really starting to get into harder, more challenging games. And that is why Super Metroid is such a special game to me. And of course, in its own right, it's an absolutely fantastic and terrific game, with its incredible boss battles and level design, its amazing musical score, and its flawless gameplay. Super Metroid is hands down one of the best of its era. And though Metroid Prime is my personal favorite Metroid game, Super Metroid is in a very, very close second, and I can definitely see why many consider it the best game in the series, and some even consider it the best game of all time. Super Metroid definitely gets the number 2 spot. So what game could possibly top this near-perfect game for my favorite Super Nintendo game? Well, you're about to find out. My favorite JRPG of all time, my favorite RPG of all time, and hands down in my top 3 games of all time, Chrono Trigger is my favorite Super Nintendo game of all time. And yet, I didn't even play this game until high school, long after it came out, and I was blown away by what a masterpiece of game this was. This is one of those few gems of a game that managed to go beyond just its medium and really show you what video games can be. It offers something that no other medium can, a form of storytelling in the mid-90s, mind you, that showed that video games can be more than just fun. They can be thought-provoking, they can be heart-wrenching, they can really make you want to be the best of yourself. And Chrono Trigger is one of those games that did that for me. This is one of those games that honestly changed my life, changed how I viewed the world, and helped me just see the joy of friendship and just... I know that's corny, but that's how this game makes me feel. Like, this game really has one of the best character dynamics I've ever experienced in an RPG. It has some of the most awesome boss battles you could imagine. It has what might be the best JRPG soundtrack in video game history, and one of the best and most brilliant and most unexpected plot twists from any game of its era. Spoilers, the main character dies. He can come back optionally, but he dies. Not only that, but this game has 13 different endings? Yes, please! This game just has more replay value than you could shake the Masamune at. Pun intended! This game is amazing. This game is my favorite Super Nintendo game of all time. That is all I have to say. So, I'm interested to hear from you. What's your favorite Super Nintendo game? Sound off in the comments and subscribe for more videos like this. Until next time, thanks for watching.